Welcome back to the Money Script Podcast. It's your host, Johannes Harrison, or since I do have a brother with us today that has a very unique name as well, I'll go with 3 syllables today. It is Johannes Harrison. I am here with a gentleman who I just met, actually, while I was at the voting booth. He stopped me on the way in. He said, hey, I know you're going to vote for me, right? That's not what he said, but that's how I heard it. And I was like, yes, of course I am. And I am so excited to have him on the show today. I said, I need you to do one thing for me in return. I'm going to need you to hop onto this podcast with me. And he said, done. Let's make it happen. So here we are. We're making it happen tonight. With no further ado, please introduce yourself, sir.
My man. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come on. So, yes, y'all, my name is Junior Ezeonu. I'm running for city council here in the great city of Grand Prairie for the Place 8 at-large seat. Currently, we're in early voting for a runoff, so I'm just here to talk about myself, talk about the race, and answer any questions presented. Thank you again to my guy, Johannes for giving me a chance to come on.
Indeed. You're welcome, Junior. So first of all, let's just start with what grade 8, what does that even mean? What is city council, and what does it mean to be a grade 8 at large?
Got you. Great question. So city council is the legislative body of a city. So same way that we have the United States Congress for the entire country, for the federal government, they deal with creating laws for all of us to follow. The city council creates laws and ordinances for residents of the city to follow. And they're just a legislative body that represents the people of the city. And the Place 8 at-large seat is, so basically an at-large seat is a seat that covers the entire city of Grand Prairie instead of a single member district. So you have at-large seats and you have single-member districts. Single-member districts are just seats that cover specific parts of the city. So a seat that may go from, for those that live in Grand Prairie, from, let's say, I-20 all the way down to the Miralagos Grand Peninsula area. That's District 6. That's just a good example of a single-member district.
I'm in District 6.
Yeah, so you're in District 6, exactly. So I'm running for the at-large seat so the entire city of Grand Prairie can vote for me. You don't have to live in South Grand Prairie. You don't have to live in North Grand Prairie. Regardless of where you live, you can vote in that election.
Now, are you from Grand Prairie?
Yes, sir. So actually, I was born in Nigeria. I moved to the States at the age of 2 years old. I grew up in Southeast Arlington. So my old home in Arlington is about a 3 to 4 minute drive from where I live down in Grand Prairie. So I lived on Green Oaks and 360. I currently now live on Camp Wisdom and 360, just across the 360 border. So I've lived in this general area for about 20 years now.
So 360, everyone, for our listeners in Nigeria, the 360, and you're laughing. There's a few of them. They've reached out to me on Twitter. So the 360 is a major highway. It's actually a tollway, so we have to pay to drive on certain parts of it. So that's a major tollway that kind of splits Arlington and Grand Prairie and Mansfield and all the way down. And all of these are towns and cities that are which way am I going? Southwest of Dallas and southeast of Fort Worth.
Yes, sir.
Got it. So now I have to ask this question. How old are you?
I'm 22 years old.
Man, okay. You know what? I was giving you like low 30s maybe, but 22 years old running for an at-large seat for the city council. Tell me, how did you end up where you are today?
I mean, it's God's blessings, man, and my community giving me the opportunity to become the man I am today. That's why I'm running for this office. That's why I'm running for this seat. I'm very blessed. Like I said, I'm an immigrant. I moved here when I was a little child, and the investments put into my community, put into this country as a whole, allowed me to get to where I am today. I graduated from UT Arlington 2 weeks ago, summa cum laude in political science. And I've been very blessed, and I'm trying to use this platform that I have now, this opportunity to run for the city council, and I made it into a runoff to be able to affect change in Grand Prairie, provide more representation for all residents in our city, and just put somebody in office that's willing to look out for everyone in the city, regardless of their race, their religion, their demographic, regardless of where they live, and just put somebody there that will actually listen to the voters, listen to the residents, and work on their behalf.
So is this something that came to you? Well, obviously it did while you were still a student. So you were a senior in college. And
Yes, sir.
and how did you decide that city council is where you wanted to be? I mean, were you on like student council and stuff like that in college and high school? I mean, how and when did you realize that you wanted to make this sort of impact?
Great question, man. So yeah, in college, I was a student government senator for a year, representing the liberal arts department. I served the students in my department in my college of liberal arts. About what is that? 15, probably 10 to 15,000 students in that college. I was a representative, and I was really grateful to have the opportunity to work on resolutions that helped all students of UT Arlington. But yeah, I've always wanted to work in a legislative body. This last semester as well that I just concluded, I interned with a U.S. Congresswoman through her office. I did a virtual internship the semester before that. I was in Washington, D.C., interning with the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation. I've always been active in legislative matters, and I just felt that now is a great time for me to get my feet wet into the political process and try to make a difference, and also put someone in power and office and leadership that represents the community more, that understands what the community needs and wants, and has their finger on the pulse.
Got it. So let's talk about that pulse a little bit. What are some of the initiatives that you want to champion, or some of the changes that you would like to see in our community?
Sure, it's a great question. So whenever I'm outside knocking on doors, I always ask residents, what do you want to see improve in your community? Because I want to work based upon what others in our community want, and not just what I want to do. I have my own agenda, my own vision for our community, but at the same time, I want to meet people where they are and be able to work on their behalf and work for them. So whenever I'm out there, everybody wants similar things, regardless of wherever you live. You want nice roads, you want good infrastructure, you want your roads to be paved, you want them to be maintained. People want to feel safe in their communities. Um, People want good schools. We all want good schools. I've worked as an educator as well for the last 2.5 years in Mansfield ISD. I've subbed in Mansfield ISD and tutored as well in South Dallas, in Oak Cliff, Pleasant Grove. I'm a big advocate for education, but specifically looking at my platform, my two main, well, three, of course, working with the school board on education, but looking at infrastructure spending. If you come to certain parts of Grand Prairie, specifically lower income minority communities in North Grand Prairie, for example, in Dalworth, in on the northeast side of Grand Prairie, you'll see radically different infrastructure than those of us that live in South Grand Prairie. Our roads are really nice and maintained. Up there, you drive on potholes like crazy, man. You're swerving from left to right, trying to avoid a pothole. And these residents have less money than those of us on the south side. So many of them can't afford to have to constantly repair their tires or get a new tire for their car. So I'm just looking at the equity right there, because we're all contributing to the community. We're all paying property taxes. We're paying sales taxes. So let's give everybody a chance to have a decent quality of life. That's how I look at it. And secondly, mental health and public health. We're just now overcoming the COVID-19 pandemic. Glory be to God. We're on the tail end of it, but many of our residents are suffering from mental health issues as a result of this last year of isolation and to curb the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. So I'm a big advocate for mental health, and the city does offer some programs dealing with mental health, such as COPE through the police department. So my main thing is to continue informing residents about the things that are accessible to you, because if you break your leg, you hurt yourself, you cut yourself, you'll get that treated because you can see it. But mental health is something that we can't see, that is happening psychologically in your brain. And I'm trying to be an advocate and be someone to inform residents about what they do have accessible to them that they can use to solve any issues. And if they have any family that's suffering, that's going through depression, going through anxiety or disorders, for example, that they have resources in our city to take care of that.
And then you said the third was education.
Education, but I don't even have to get into education. We all know how important good public schools are, and I will work hard with the school board to advocate for our students and make sure that we have enough money for our schools to be run properly. I mean, I'm a sub in Mansfield ISD, where a lot of our students on the south side go to, but GPISD is very important, making sure that they have enough money as well as they have the resources to make sure that the students are taken care of properly and they have the best education that they can have, and the teachers have the opportunity to make this happen.
Agreed. Now, well, education is important to me, so we're going to spend some time on that one. And the roads those are important. I have driven on that side of Grand Prairie, and yes, I remember saying that it's like night and day. It's like all of a sudden they're like, okay, we're not spending money past this street right here. It's like,
Exactly.
like you just
It's
really
actually
stop
crazy.
paving right here. I mean, you pay that side of it, but not this side. Oh, okay, ran out of money. Got it. That's what happened. So, but let's talk a little bit, if you don't mind, about the education system, because we live in this area so that we can have access to the Mansfield school district, because it is one of the top rated school districts in Texas, actually in the United States. It's really good. But one of the things that I noticed that still isn't it isn't a part of the ongoing curriculum is financial literacy and financial education. I see, spurts of it here and there. I've looked into some of the schools and what they're offering, but there's no consistent financial literacy education that I believe should start as early as middle school. I mean, actually, you could
Yes.
really start in elementary school. I mean, if when you're teaching about math, you could build your entire math curriculum just on money, because it's such an integral part of what we do as a society. I mean, you can't operate in our society without having some level of financial literacy. Well, you can't operate effectively. And one of the things that it frustrates me more than anything else is that that our students will be required to have a certain level of history. And in Texas, it's the history of Texas. A certain amount of science. No matter what you want to do, there's an amount of science that you have to take. And then in math, going up to geometry and algebra. And I understand that when students take those courses, it can unlock some things that help them understand, oh, I want to be an engineer, or I want to go and whatever it is that math course may have helped them do, as a surveyor or what have you. But no matter what you do after high school, it's going to involve you having to make some money and caring for yourself. And we don't do the simple thing of like teaching kids the difference between a 1099 job and a W-2 job. Or even if you get a W-2 job, how do you fill out a W-4? And I meet more college students that have screwed up their taxes or screwed up their parents' taxes because they filled out their W-4 improperly. And it's just a basic, if you work for somebody in the United States, you're going to have to fill out the form, or even how to fill out an I-9. Why do you have to fill out an I-9? The difference in checking and savings accounts and how to balance your checking or savings account, and understanding credit and understanding how to save for a rainy day. And the list goes on and on. Like I said, I can get on a soapbox about this thing, but let me find my words. Calm. I'm okay.
Hey, fine, my man. Continue.
I'm just curious to as someone that is an educator, that and you're running for a council seat, and you do want to see those things improve. What do we have to do to get the school systems to take it seriously and partner with all of the financial professionals that there are in the marketplace? 'Cause that's the other thing. I've met teachers and professors who say, yeah, I have to do this financial literacy course. I don't know this stuff. No one taught me, but I'm expected to teach it. And what do? They just rubber stamp everybody. Like, oh, yeah, it looks like you did the project. Yeah, you did good. I don't know what this is either, but okay, you did it. Okay, but what do we have to do to get everyone to just wake up and say, hey, let's make sure we give our students an education in finance so they know how to evolve in the rest of their life. I'll stop now, stepping down.
See, this is a great question because I wanted this same thing while I was in high school. I graduated not too long ago in 2017, and I went to Bowie High School in Arlington, ISD, because where I live in Grand Prairie, um, it's kind of weird. Like my street is cut half and half, so half of my street is Mansfield ISD, half of my street is Arlington ISD. Um, but I had two courses in high school that were elective courses called Money and Me, and the second one was something about finance. And in those courses, I learned how to file my taxes. We were taught how to file a 1099 EZ form. I believe that's what it's called, 1099
10,
EZ
10,
form.
40, 1040 easy. Yep, 1040
1040,
easy.
1040 EZ form. That's what it's called. Yeah. I learned that firsthand in that class. But the issue with that is that it was an elective.
Exactly. I was waiting. I was holding on to that. Yes.
Yeah.
Why
It was a
why is it
required
elective?
class. Yeah.
Why? But you're required to dissect a frog or a worm or something. But you're
Yeah.
required to memorize who won the Alamo.
Yeah, it's ridiculous because who won the Alamo? It's a great thing to know. I mean, history is important to know, but that is not going to affect your life to the same degree that you knowing how to file your taxes will affect your life.
Amen.
No, it's as simple as that. So the question is, why are some things required and some things being like, yeah, you can take this, it's a good class to take. No, we need to require kids to have this because they, like you said, they become adults and they have no clue as to how to manage their money. They have no clue how to manage their finance. They don't get it. I'll tell you, in the same class, I learned what a mutual fund was in that class. I had no
Wow.
idea what a mutual fund was prior to that class. So I'm grateful for that opportunity. But working with a school board, because the school boards are the ones that will be the advocates on this issue. All I can do is just work with them and speak to them and actively encourage, actively encourage, if you understand what I'm saying.
I do.
Yeah, encourage them to make this a required curriculum. It's no longer it's gone are the days of us saying, yeah, if the kids want to learn about this, yeah, we'll offer this class. No, because they need this. It's an integral part of their life as soon as they turn 18.
Exactly. As soon as you turn 18, you're old enough to sign contracts. You can open accounts wherever you want. You can get into debt contracts as well. Understanding. I've met college students that have good credit, but still got a bad interest rate on their car just because they didn't know how to say, that seems high. Maybe I should be
Exactly.
paying a little bit lower. you
Uh-huh.
know and it's all because they had no education. I meet 30 and 40-year-olds that I say, they'll say, oh yeah, I've never invested before, and I'm like, well, what's this? Oh, that's my 401k. I'm like, that's an investment. It is, yeah. Like
Oh,
what, have you ever
oh,
had mutual
no,
funds? What's a mutual fund? All of those things in your 4, that's what those are. And it's like,
uh,
and
oh
these are
man.
people that are 30 plus, 40 plus, even in their 50s,
Yep.
not understanding because it wasn't taught. So I that's also one of the reasons why I have this podcast, is so I can create a platform where the barrier to entry is very low. Podcasts are free. You can listen to this podcast on just about all the different podcast brands that there are out there, and it costs you nothing. But this is a place that you can get a little bit of education and start asking questions for yourself. So now I'm going to be selfish here and just ask. So as a citizen, as a community member, what can I do to help promote the financial literacy? I mean, I've sent emails to like the principal of school. I know COVID happens, I kind of slowed stuff down a little bit, but offering, hey, I'd love to come in and teach a financial literacy course or something like that, and winds up getting pushed off, and oh, well, we don't know if we want to do that, or you might be soliciting. I'm like, what am I soliciting to some kids? I mean, no, this is free financial literacy courses. I can use the materials that are provided from the federal government, the Financial Literacy Education Council. They put out information to put into the schools and encourage the schools to do more. But again, I'm asking you, as what can I do to help champion this, especially in my own backyard?
Yeah. So I want to circle back to that. I want to speak about something that you said. You created a podcast, right, to educate people, and you have no barrier to entry with this education because it's a podcast. Anyone can access it, right?
Yes.
So about a year ago, I created a YouTube channel called Fair Play Politics, where I talk about primarily politics and what's going on in the world and government and all that. But at the same time, I was educating a lot of people about the stock market, for example, because around this time is whenever the stock market crashed and everybody's going in to buy dumb stocks and all that. You know what's going on,
I
right?
know it's going. Yes, I
I was
do.
talking, I was breaking down what a PE ratio is, for example. I was telling, I was trying to just educate young people and try to steer them away from the days of, well, they still do it. This day trading, rapid, buy the stock, sell it the next day, hope that this penny stock will go from 35 cents to $5.
Yep,
Trying to steer,
buying lottery
yeah,
tickets. Like I told people, like just go to the gas station, buy lottery tickets. Same
yeah,
odds.
same exact thing. I try to steer, especially the young people, away from because everybody wants to get rich fast. So that's why I really applaud you for all that you're doing because that makes a difference. That makes a difference. And I
Thank
know
you.
how many people have thanked me for educating them on the stock market, teaching them to be a long-term investor into quality ETFs primarily, and then some blue chip stocks because those ones you can rely on. So I want to thank you for all that you're doing. But then to answer your question regarding what can you do, I think you're already doing what's needed with this podcast already, and you're reaching out to the school districts. I think something that we have to consider, win or lose in this election, you and I have to do something where we try to mentor young men and young men and young women in our communities regarding finance and just behavior. For example,
Mm,
um, So that's something that I'm really looking into, just trying to be a mentor because parents aren't going to, a lot of parents don't want to do, and a lot of them don't know, like you said, they don't understand finance. They don't understand, they don't file their taxes. People do it for them. So most definitely, I think that's something that we have to consider, just ways to work around the school system if the school system rejects our assistance or your assistant. You're certified. You do this for life. This your profession. You're professional in this. So if they're rejecting this, we may have to find other ways to get to these kids through mentorship.
That's a good idea. I have not dug into doing some mentorship in my own backyard. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. All right, so let's get to our favorite part of our show, and this is where I like to dig into what makes you financially who you are. And I'm a firm believer that we all have money scripts, and money scripts are the relationship that we have with money and the ideas and strategies and thoughts, or even if you want to call it the movie that plays in our mind. And it happens in a split second, in an instant. You are making a financial decision based on the things that are already ingrained into your subconscious about how you feel about money. Now, I know you mentioned that you're an immigrant here at 2, I believe you said. So I'm always especially interested in how the view of money in America is, especially to an immigrant family. So tell me, Junior, what is your first memory of money?
Hmm. That's a great question. It's I think probably a birthday, right? And an uncle or auntie came over. We call everybody uncle or auntie,
Oh yeah.
and they gave me money for my birthday. And my parents were like, "Yeah, just let me hold that for you. I'll give it back to you. Let me just hold it for you." And
Wow.
I never got that $20 back. So that's I think my first recollection of money, right? And I don't want to say that it influenced how I look at a dollar bill, but it definitely does make me want to go out and work hard to, bring in the money for myself, and my future family. So I guess that's my first contact with money. I held the $20 bill. I can remember this very vividly on the birthday. And my parent, like, because parents like, you're not gonna do nothing with that $20. Give it to me. I use it to go buy some gas.
Hmm.
So that's probably my very first time, interacting with money.
I'm curious, how much cash do you usually walk around? I mean, not to tell everyone how much money you have, but are
Right.
you someone that carries cash? Do you like to still carry cash, or are you
I
someone
don't
that
like
puts it all in
carrying
the
cash.
bank account?
I don't like carrying cash. I really don't. The most I'll carry on maybe is like $10 to $20. I don't like it. I like to carry my debit card and call it, or credit card and call it a day.
Mm. See, it is possible. No psychologist here, but it is possible that you having that first $20 and it being taken from you associates with you not wanting to have cash, cold hard cash in your hand to this day.
That is very possible. It might be just ingrained in my subconscious and something that I just never thought about. Possibly.
By you having cash, someone might ask you for it. Like, no, 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 don't have any, don't have
Oh,
nothing.
hold on. I want to. No, I agree with that. I agree with that because I've had some, friends, right, that will always ask you for money, and they may pay you back a year from now, right? But if you have a 20 on you and they need a 20 to get into this party or this club or something, you hand it to them. But if you don't have the 20, I don't have the 20.
Exactly.
So maybe that's what it is. You might be right. You might be right.
I love it. I love it. Now, as you said you just graduated from college. You said you're doing some substitute teaching, et cetera. What are some of the financial goals that you're working on right now, just personally, and as you look out over the next year, 2 years, 5 years of your life? What are some of the things that you want to make sure that you get done for yourself?
Well, that's a good question. I want to save up a good amount of money to the point where I all right, I don't want to tell you too much about my plans for the future, but I'll lend you in on a secret. So whenever you run for a larger office, you need to take out time to quit work for some time to campaign, actively campaign. So something I've definitely thought about is that I want to have enough money to where I'm comfortable enough to not work for a whole year to be able to be as effective as I can on that campaign trail.
I understand. I see I'm picking up what you're putting down. I hear you.
Exactly, exactly. I'm not saying it's anytime soon.
Yep.
I mean, I'm only 22 years old, so if that tells you something.
Yep.
I'm slowly saving money and I'm investing it as well, to where I don't have to worry to work for a whole year because I do have some plans on the horizon. Not anytime soon, but most definitely in the future.
Hey,
So I want to be financially free to the point where I can commit to that campaign for a year or a year and a half, however long it takes, and I have to worry about working because working will deter those goals. I mean, just to be honest with you, if you're running in a campaign like that, you need to dedicate 120% of your time to that campaign.
absolutely. You do. You do. Now, how long is your seat on city council?
3 years if I
Okay.
win it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. 3 years. And how close is the rate? Now, actually, let's back up because I met you on my way into vote. I think was this a Saturday? I don't know. It was. I feel like it may have been Sunday. I think they had weekend voting. I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
This is pretty
So
cool.
you can vote every day of the week.
Yeah, I was like, this is all that stuff they talk about Texas. Yes, we got to vote every day of the week. Well, in this part of Texas, um, so that was pretty exciting. And in that race, you ended up in a runoff. So for those that are unfamiliar, what can you share everyone what it means or why? What is a runoff and why did you end up in a runoff?
Yes, sir. So a runoff is whenever no candidate gets a clear majority of the vote. So a clear majority is getting 50% of the vote plus one. So you got over 50% of the vote. In my race, there were six candidates in my race. I ran against an incumbent that's been in power since 2009. So he's been in there for 12 years. He's a four-term incumbent, very entrenched, has a lot of support amongst the establishment of Grand Prairie. And I'm taking him into a runoff. In the first election, he got 3,200 votes, and I got 2,800 votes. And keep in mind, there was four of the candidates, and they all hovered around 300 to 600 votes. So we were very far away from the rest of the crowd, showing you how close of a race it was between us. So yeah, so the race is this is what happens if you don't get over that 50% mark. You go into a runoff where you go head to head. The top two candidates go head to head.
Mm. So you have two objectives. One is to get the folks that were in the 300, 400, 600 crowd voting for the others to come vote for you
Yes,
and
sir.
continue to look for new voters. Is that right?
Primarily continue to look for new voters if we have the how do I say this the opportunity to. So right now, the goal is just to get those that voted to come back out because if you look at the numbers, those that voted, if they come back out, even if we lose 10 or 15% of the vote, which should be expected in a runoff, we can win this race comfortably. 300, 400, 500 vote margin. I don't see it's not going to happen. It's not likely to happen because a lot of voters don't want to come back out for runoff, and the other side is running a very um, interesting and dirty campaign where they're using racial sentiments now to rile up voters on their side to come back out to
Really? I
vote.
haven't heard any of that. Well, I'm in a bubble,
Oh,
so
yeah, exactly. When we live in our bubble, we have no ideas going on, but there's a lot going on, especially dealing with public housing, which is a big racial dog whistle that's being thrown around, and defunding the police, which is another interesting thing that they're using to rile up their base.
hey, now I have to give a shout out to the Grand Prairie Police Department. They've been great since I've been here.
Oh yeah, for sure. We support GPPD all
Yeah,
the way.
yeah, they've been great. They come out to my community center, and yeah, they've been really good. I've had zero complaints, zero complaints. Also, I got pulled over as soon as I got here. They let me go with a warning, so that was good. But I was nervous. Oh boy, I was super nervous. I still had out of state license plates. I was speeding, and it was about 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Man. So, but he was like, all right, well, slow down. I was like, oh, thank you. I will
Thank
slow
God.
down. That's what I will do. Yes. Happy to slow down. He was like, don't forget to get your license and license plate. Yes, I will do that too tomorrow. So, yeah, no, that's interesting. Now I want to now I want to like go out and hear a little bit about the other side. So the last day to vote for those of you that are listening in our neighborhood is June 5th. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Saturday, June 5th. But please don't wait for that date. Come and vote early. Early voting will end Tuesday, June 1st, but it's going to go on until Tuesday, June 1st. So tomorrow, or whenever this is shot, Friday, we have voting from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Same as Saturday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. But if you live in Dallas County, it'll be from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. On Sunday, voting will go on from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. for voters in Tarrant County. Dallas County residents will vote from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Sunday. And we won't have any voting on Monday because of Memorial Day. But on Tuesday, regardless of whichever county you live in, polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So please come out and vote. There's no excuses, no reasons not to vote. We need y'all out there.
Man, and you can vote on Sunday. I'm gonna vote on Sunday again, just because I can.
Ain't that great?
And it's all the same poll. So wherever you voted before, you should be able to go back to the same place.
Exactly.
Perfect. Well, I know where that is. Well, Junior, again, we appreciate you coming to spend some time with us on the Money Script podcast. For those that want to follow you, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, tell everybody where to find you.
For sure. So if you can go on Twitter or Instagram, type in @CallMeJRE, Call Me JRE. On Facebook, you can look me up, Junior Ezeonu for Grand Prairie City Council. My website is votejuniorezonu.com, votejuniorEzeonu.com. And I think that's it. Yeah, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and the website. So yeah, I'm on all platforms. Find me.
Well, Junior, I hope to have you back on the show as our city council member at large, place 8. Did I say that right?
Let's speak it into existence.
Speaking to existence, and I'll see to it that there are at least 2 more votes for you this weekend.
I appreciate you, man.
All right, man.
I can always count on you.
Indeed. You take care.
All right, you too, man.
Thanks for joining us on the Money Script podcast. Be sure to check out our other episodes, subscribe, follow, and give us 5 stars. Continue to send your financial questions on Twitter or Instagram @themoneyscript. Go to moneyscriptwealth.com and schedule your complimentary consultation to discuss your specific goals and concerns. Financial advisory and investment management services are offered by Money Script Wealth Management PLLC, a registered investment advisory firm registered in the state of Texas and California and other states where exempt. The Money Script LLC and the Money Script Wealth Management PLLC and guests of the episode may have interest in the investments mentioned today. The opinions and views are expressed here are for informational purposes only. This material is educational in nature and should not be deemed as a solicitation for any specific product or service. All investments involve risk and a significant loss of principal. The Money Script nor Money Script Wealth Management offer tax or legal advice. Please consult your tax advisor or attorney for specific advice about your situation. Until next time.